Hey, YouTube. Happy holidays. I don't know when you're watching this, but if it's when it launches, happy holidays. Wow, hold on. We just need to fix this hair. Sometimes you turn on the live and you're like, what? As always, I, of course, am doing this after a day of coaching and my own workout. So sometimes you get fresh, but most of the time you get me post all the sweaty things. Anyway, thank you for being here. I'm so excited for today's topic, as I always am. I'm going to go ahead and launch us off right away. But thank you, as always, for being here. I love your feedback. So, questions, comments, drop them in the comment section. And in the meantime, happy holidays. All right, y'all. Let's get it poppin'. Hello, and welcome to Fit After 40 Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey Diment, and I am, as always, supremely pumped to be here with you today. The day that this episode drops is Christmas Eve. So, whatever you choose to celebrate or not celebrate, I hope you're having the happiest of holidays and that you're surrounded with loved ones and delicious food. And also, what now? We're a week away from 2026. Y'all, that is crazy. That is wow. This always happens, right? I always feel like the year begins. I'm like, oh my gosh, the year is just flying by. And then suddenly we're in November, December, and I'm like, the year's almost over. Where did the time go? This is why being present is such a big thing. Being present and grateful for the moments we got. All right. So, first things first, before we take this podcast away, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for an incredible year of Fit After 40 Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. I could not be more grateful to each and every single one of you for taking the time to listen, to take care of your amazing bodies and brains, for taking time to rate and review, for reaching out with questions. I just am beyond humbled every time I hear from one of you, and just am so grateful. So grateful that you are out there listening and learning. And if there is a topic that we haven't covered here yet and you would like to learn more about it in 2026, or if you have a burning fitness, health, menopause related questions that you'd like me to deep dive into, please reach out. Remember, if you have a question, 100% guaranteed that somebody else is wondering the exact same thing. And selfishly, I just love that it gives me an idea of what you are most interested in learning about. So feel free to email me at Kinsey at fitafter40.info, and 40 is the number 4040. Or you can hit me up on Instagram at kinsey.does.the.fitness. Point is, thank you. I am absolutely overflowing with gratitude for each and every one of you. Keep up the amazing work. Keep getting inspired to learn how to take care of your amazing bodies and brains. And let's make 2026 just another year of taking care of ourselves. Today, I like to think, is going to be a fun episode. We're taking a whole new twist on the usual New Year's resolutions. I'm a coach. I live in the goal business. They happen all year round when you are a coach. But to me, goals are different than New Year's resolutions, especially when they're set goals, specifically when goals are set in a more specific and supportive fashion, which is what I work on with clients. The last couple of New Year's, I've done podcasts on everything from how to set a more specific goal so that it's more achievable, to things that can get in the way of New Year's resolutions coming to fruition, to how to follow up a month or 6 months later to see if you're still on track with your goals or if it's time to reassess. So, if you are interested in deep diving into the world of more traditional New Year's resolution, trad resolutions, as the kids say, I don't know what the kids are saying. I got you. The point is, I got you. Go ahead, check out the show notes in the bottom. There'll be links to those episodes. And honestly, they're really just good episodes to keep in the back pocket for any time you want to embark on a new goal. They're solid ways to help you actually see it all the way through. This year, I kind of went back and forth. I was like, do I do a New Year's podcast? I feel like I've said everything I have to say about New Year's resolution specifically. We could talk about SMART goals, but I feel like it's one of the most Googleable things. And if those are things you want to deep dive on, like I said, let me know, because this is the world I live in. So I always sort of like, it's a helpful reminder of what people outside of my everyday life do and do not know. But this year, I decided to try something different. We're going to focus on or chat about 6 ways to commit to yourself without writing a list of resolutions. That, let's be honest, if you're anything like me, end up being pretty much the same list every single year. I, like in my 20s, was really big on New Year's resolutions, but looking back, those lists were less about things that I actually changed and more a long list of things that I was ashamed of and wanted to change, but had no action steps involved to actually see them through to reality. So it really was just sort of like a poop on Kinsey fest. And then each year, those same goals would reappear and reappear. And if you're anything like I used to be, maybe you do start out January strong. You've locked in on that whole 30 and you're exercising more than you ever have before. You're drinking like so much freaking water. Are you lake? Are you human? And then suddenly February rolls around, or maybe like the third week of January rolls around, and you're just so burned out by this complete lifestyle overhaul that you just toss whatever you were working on back in the bin labeled New Year's resolutions. You leave it on a shelf to get dusty and ignored until December 31st, and then it rolls around again and we're back at the top. Or maybe your issue, like mine used to be, is that the list that you write is just way too long, and instead of leaning into making one very specific goal a habit, you have trouble committing to anything and nothing changes. And worst of all, in these situations, what tends to happen is that we blame ourselves for not being motivated or committed enough and decide that things like health and fitness and taking care of ourselves just isn't for us. Whatever the reason is that we end up recycling these New Year's resolutions, same goal, new year, there's no shame behind it. I have seen this year in and year out, and it's honestly more common than it isn't, right? It's more common to fall, quote unquote, off of your New Year's resolutions than to actually see them through. The problem, as I mentioned, is often we have a lot of good or punishing intentions, but without a plan of action. And a lot of times, and again, I did a whole podcast on what gets in the way. A lot of times there's just lack of specificity or plan. So if that's the case, feel free to go back and explore the past episodes on how to change your relationship to resolutions and actually see them stick. Maybe you're listening to this podcast because you just don't like resolutions. That's cool. Honestly, I haven't made a resolution list in a really long time. I have goals. I have them all the time. They just get set and adjusted throughout the year as I hit my benchmark, and then it's time to move it a little bit further. Or maybe you're here because you love resolutions. You are just gaga for resolutions. You love them so much that you're just itching to explore another layer of self exploration and growth. And honestly, whatever reason you're here today, welcome. Happy New Year's. Let's go ahead and dive in. 6 things that are not resolutions, whether you're anti resolution or just things to try instead of your New Year's resolution. So the first option is pick a word. That's one word for the whole year. And I want to just take a second to shout out to one of my business mentors, Shantae Coleman, aka the Movement Maestro, aka the Maestro. She does this practice every single year and was the first person that I heard it from. I really love this one. It's the route that I'm decided to go this year. And what I love about it is that it sets more of, at least for me, like a tone for the upcoming year rather than like a list of to-dos. It acts more as a North Star, something that we can keep checking in with and keeping us on track when it comes to decision making. I'll be honest, I 100% forgot my word about 6 months in last year, but it still got me moving and inspired in a big way. And I'll talk more at the end of this little portion about how we can help ourselves remember the word down the line. So, how do we pick a word? First things first, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Doesn't matter. You don't even have to tell anyone. This is your word. I was talking to a member the other day, and she's actually the reason that I thought to write this podcast in the first place. So, shout out. She reminded me about how much I love the pick a word route. She has been practicing this for a couple years now, and she said that some years the word just literally like poof, it drops into her head, clear as a bell. And then other years, it takes some thinking and experimenting with, and like kind of going back and forth and like, is this my right word? But either way, she's found whatever the instance has been, whether it was just like, bing, there it is, or I don't know, this is good enough. She's found it to be deeply inspiring and super helpful. There are two big routes that I find you can go with the word. The first one, as I mentioned, is more of like a vibe check. Last year, for example, my word was courage. I knew I was going to be leaving a consistent job that gave me health insurance to launch out on creating a new business, Fit After 40, small group personal training. And that leap of faith required a healthy dose of courage. But I was surprised about all the other places that word showed up in my life. Turns out courage can show up in every facet of life, in hard conversations we have with loved ones or at work, in being honest and taking responsibility when we mess up, in trying something new that scares us, in standing up for something or someone we believe in sharing our idea at a meeting, in being the first one out on the dance floor at a wedding, right? Life takes courage. So it was a great word for me to tap back into when I was feeling fear, which it turns out is pretty often not like an OMG, I'm going to die of fear or like incredibly debilitating, but just little everyday life things, like I mentioned. My members' word for this year was remember, or this upcoming year is remember. This year for her officially marks the first year all of her kiddos are out of the house. With that huge life transition brings an incredible amount of pride, but it also brings a large degree of sadness. For her, choosing the word remember is her way to embrace the joy they've shared in the house. And when moments of sadness inevitably arise, to focus on remembering all of the shared memories, as well as the reminder that missing them as deeply as she does is the privilege of loving someone so deeply. Honestly, I love this word. I like was about to go in and coach and was just like, do not start sobbing right here. So the vibe check, that's the first way. The second way is that it could be a tangible thing. So last year, Shantae, my business coach's word was right, because she wanted to focus on and prioritize. Any guesses? Nailed it. Writing. Yep. She wanted to focus on and prioritize writing. The word kept her focused on putting her writing first, even if other things felt more desirable or natural to her. And as a result, now at the end of 2025, she is currently running 3 successful weekly newsletters and just launched a second and really dope and super helpful podcast, Chat GPT Curious. I definitely recommend checking out and following that podcast for anyone who wants to understand what the H is happening with AI in a way that makes sense to non-math brains and how to integrate it responsibly into our lives. This year, so that I just to wrap that up, that was a tangible word. It was an action. This year, my word is commit. It's kind of both. It's kind of an action. It's kind of a vibe. I want to commit to my members, making sure that I stay on top of supporting them in the gym and out with follow-ups, webinars, other helpful resources, even when I'm tired. I want to commit to my friends, initiating phone calls with my friends in LA and hangouts with my friends in the Twin Cities, even if I'm an introvert. I want to commit to my family by putting my phone down and being present, even if Instagram has been really nailing my dogs and outfits carrying things they shouldn't be carrying content. I want to commit to prioritizing sleep and stress management, even if I'd rather stay awake and watch dogs and outfits carrying things they shouldn't be carrying. I want to commit to this podcast, even if I would rather watch dogs. Okay, you get it. The point is, I want to commit to this podcast and exciting news, because I have a plan for this podcast that I've been sort of like waffling on last year and have decided just to commit. And that is that I'm going to be in 2026 launching a Patreon or a Substack. I'm still figuring out which the right way to go is. And I'm super open to feedback if you have preferences. So if you do, hit me up, Kinsey at fitafter40.info. It's going to include exclusive bonus workshops, different materials. You'll have access to a backlog of video podcasts if you haven't been watching that already. I do put some of them on YouTube, hello, but a lot of them are actually kept behind the scenes. And they have little bonus content on either side. So I do a little talk beforehand, I do a little talk afterwards. Point is, this is something I'm committing to in the world of the podcast. And I want to commit wholeheartedly to Fit After 40, because building a business, girl, you know if you've done it. It is an act of love. It takes everything you got, and imposter syndrome is always about 6 inches away and ready to launch at the drop of a client. And the cool thing that I look forward to finding out is, who knows, the other ways committing will show up over 2026. So how the heck do we remember our words? Honestly, you might not remember it the whole year. Like I said, I didn't. But if it's getting you through parts of the year, that's a big win. You also might find 6 months in that you want to reassess your word a little bit. That's part of just goals in general, right? But some practical things to try. I'm pretty sure Shantae says that she makes hers into like a little bracelet, Taylor Swift BFF style. And that's a cool thing because it's as easy as just taking like a little gander at your wrist whenever a crossroad is being approached and a decision needs to be made. And you can just sort of, like I said, North Star, what fits with commit. You can also do the good old fashioned write it on a sticky note and put it anywhere. You'll see it every day, but it won't get lost. So think like bathroom mirror, fridge, laptop, something cool like that. You can make it a desktop picture or do like a pretty little Canva design and then add it to your phone screen. I mean, shoot, you can get a tattoo and over the years, the words will add up and it'll be memento style. That's pretty batty. The point is, find what works for you. Don't expect perfection. And as always, be gentle, which brings me to the second idea. Okay, that was going to be our longest one, but let's jump into 2. Gentle goals. But Kinsey, I thought you said no goals. Okay, hear me out. This isn't an I want to deadlift 200 pounds by April 3rd by hiring a strength coach and working out 3 days a week. Gentle goals is a list of little self hugs and action steps that aren't about changing who you are in any way, but instead about supporting you. Things like practicing being present, working on replacing critical self talk, starting each morning with mirror mantras, talking to yourself how you talk to a friend, maybe making a list of toxic people and environments that you can either start to distance yourself from or at least have a gentle plan of action to support yourself if that isn't an option to fully remove yourself, creating a whole let go list of things that don't serve you and your happiness, letting go of things needing to be exactly the way we think they should be, being open to surprises, expecting people to be imperfect, expecting ourselves to be imperfect, learning or leaning into doing something you love, like knitting, snuggling your dog, forest bathing, reading romantasy, listening to a romantasy audiobook as you knit a sweater for the dog you're snuggling in the middle of the forest, watching content of dogs with outfits, carrying things they shouldn't be carrying. Point is, write down a list of your self hugs, fold it up, keep it in your wallet or something that you have on your person most days. And when life inevitably gets lifey, pull out your list, pick something or some things off of it, and support yourself and help guide yourself to a little perspective change. Third, I told you that first one was going to be the big one. Third, gratitude reflection. Reflection. So instead of looking towards the future and all the things we feel like we need to be changing about ourselves, take time instead to reflect back on 2025 and focus on and make a list of things that went well and things that you're proud of and want to carry on to next year. And again, this could be anything. It could be really having been super consistent with hitting your 2 weekly workouts. It could be standing up for yourself to an overwhelming boss. It could be that you found some cool new hobbies. It could be that you're cooking more at home. It could be that you're speaking nicer to yourself, that you're speaking nicer to your spouse and kids, that you started a podcast, that you have been posting more content of dogs in outfits carrying things they shouldn't be carrying. Thank you for that. Keep on keeping on. I promise that's the last callback. I just can't help myself. Point is, pick anything and everything. Anything and everything you're proud of. This is a list that I would love for you to make long. Celebrate yourself. I love this one because it reminds us that our goals are so much more than 365. So many New Year's resolutions are really short-sighted. Change, true change, comes from consistent daily action steps that last a lifetime. And the best part about this one, it celebrates you. You are worth celebrating. Girl, you work hard, and I'm going to put money on it that you are not giving yourself enough credit. So let this list be super duper long. And the cool thing, too, with really any of these options, There's no time frame, right? It's not like I have 20 minutes to get everything out and then that's what it is. Let this be a running list. Start, write everything that comes to mind. Let it be living. Go back, add things as you think of them. Okay. Brings us to 4, monthly habit tracking. I actually stole this one from my sister. Shout out to Hanny because she just got this super cute habit tracker for all of those of you on YouTube. I mean, adorable. I digress. The trick with this one is that we're not doing 12 different New Year's Eve resolution lists with like 1 to 40 items each month. It's the opposite. Each month we commit to one new habit. And I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. We commit to one new habit. One new habit that we feel 9 to 10 out of 10 certain that we can hit consistently. Every month, we add another habit or we dive down a little deeper on the habit we've started last month. So I'll give you examples for both. For the build up habit, every day in January, I'm going to start my day with a glass of water. In February, I'm still doing my glass of water, but now it's pretty much a no brainer because I did it consistently through January. So this month, February, I'm going to focus on incorporating a walk over my lunch break 3 times a week. Now comes March. I'm still drinking my morning water. I'm not even thinking about it. I just wake up, I down my water. My walking is pretty much consistent. I'm getting 3 in over my lunch breaks. I started it in February, which meant that I got used when it's cold. I'm going to focus in March on practicing harp for 30 minutes, 4 nights a week. Do I wish that were my goal? Yes, that is my sister's goal because she is actually the coolest person to walk the earth. I want you to go check out her Instagram right now or like after this podcast, Lore Massage Sanctuary. I'm going to put it in the show notes because she's worth following. The cool thing is that when we take habit setting and committing it to it in real time, we're able to actually see if we're hitting it or not. And that way we can gauge if we're ready to go on to the next habit. So, like, let's say, for example, I get to March and I'm still trying to dial in my 3 weekly walks from February. I don't have to change habits. I can stick with my 3 weekly walks until I'm doing it more consistently. And then I can tap on my HARP goal. The build effect, so where we're building on one goal, would go something like this. Because again, remember, we want this to be 9 out of 10 doable. So this is going to talk about protein. The majority of women are not getting the amount of protein we need to support our body and brain through menopause. We've talked about this a ton. Ideal is 1 gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight. But if a woman is currently eating 50 grams of protein, asking her to get up to 151 pounds, let's just say arbitrarily, is a huge leap. That is not 9 to 10 out of 10 likelihood she's going to stick with it. That's like a 3 to 4 probably. So we start smaller. The build effect goes something like this. January, I try to eat at least 30 grams of protein at breakfast. February, I'm now adding on 30 grams of protein at lunch. March, I'm now having 30 grams of protein at every meal. So now we're up to 90 grams. Pretty darn good. April, I'm trying to add 20 grams of protein into a snack or pre workout on top of my 3 meals. May, I am trying to hit 135 grams of protein every day. See how we did that little build? Didn't ask for it all at once. We gave ourselves time because, again, things that really stick happen consistently over a lifetime. What I love about this method is that it sets us up to think about things long term and it frames habit building in a way that makes it really achievable with small, doable, consistent doses over time. 5, boundaries list. This one accidentally got a little heavy, so just stay with me. Trigger warning, we are talking about boundaries, so it just, like I said, got a little bit darker than I anticipated, but I do think it's super duper important to talk about. Reflect on situations last year or in the recent past where you wish you would have set a boundary, or know that your energy would have benefited from having a boundary in place. After you write your list, and again, this isn't shame. This is just bringing awareness to where maybe there's energy seeps out or whatever the case may be. So just looking at our list, when you have that list written, pick the number one boundary that would make the biggest difference in your life right now. Now, 2026 is all about learning how to and hopefully developing the courage and support system. Courage, there's that word again, to set that boundary respectfully. When we have this in mind, we can approach it in a lot of different ways. We can talk to a loved one or close friend about action steps. I personally recommend getting a therapist or a support group involved. There are a couple really wonderful 12-step programs for this. Codependence Anonymous is a good one. Al-Anon is great for friends and loved ones of alcoholics. These can be beautiful and free starting places. And this is where it gets a little bit darker, but is important to talk about. If you are in danger, I know it is not as cut and dry as just breaking and running or leaving or telling them no and kicking them out of the house, right? But we can start to safely, even just thinking about what we can do, or even a nice way to start even pulling back is starting to build self-worth. So trying to find a way, and it can be really hard in these situations, to bring a little bit of community in. Start to safely find ways that you can seek support, whether it's with friends and shelters who can help house you if you need to leave home, domestic services, and don't be afraid to explore how you can involve the authorities. You don't have to set the boundary right now. You never have to if you don't want to. But whatever degree of boundary setting is necessary, start to explore steps to put in place and build your support system. On a lighter note, we are the sum of 5 people closest to us. And maybe this isn't a lighter note. It's our responsibility to get that ball rolling on making changes. But the important thing to know is you are never, and I mean absolutely never, alone in doing this. Even if you feel alone, you are not. I don't have answers. I don't have all the resources. But if you are truly in a position where you're like, I don't know who I can reach out to, reach out and I'll see what I can do with finding resources in your area. I've found 12-step programs to be incredibly beneficial for a lot of different things. But again, you're not alone. You are not alone. Okay. Our final option is the vision board. Ding, 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 ding. This is a class favorite. And I will be honest, I have never done one. I like to think I'm arts and crafty, but I'm not. I'm not arts and crafty. My mom and my sister, they got all those genes. Mom gave it right to Hannah, and I got none. I got none of the hands doing magic things. So I love them. I love to see what people make, and I find them very cool, but it's not my thing. But it is a lot of people's things. And folks find both that the intention behind putting a vision board together and the visual inspirational. They find it to be incredibly helpful because, again, we're kind of anchoring of the vision board. We're anchoring the vision board somewhere we can see it throughout our day, and we can keep touching back. It's kind of like that word, right? We can see it and sort of make those decisions of like, am I in line with what my vision board has stated? I also love this option because you can kind of turn it into a party, invite your ladies over, tell them to bring old magazines, glue, glitter. I gotta assume there's glitter involved. There would be on my vision board. It would probably just be glitter, and dream big together. Similar, like I said, to the word of the year. I've seen these done both tangibly and vibey. Tangibly, as in like there's pictures of stacks on stacks of cash or the car that they want or people kissing because they want to find a relationship. And vibey, as in like big sweeping open pastures, sunlight and forest, uh, nostalgic aspects, swashes of color. And of course, I have to assume just a lot of glitter. That would be my vibe, just glitter all day. There's no wrong way to do it. No, there's no wrong way to do any of this. And doing it with friends might both inspire you to think bigger or to think of different things. And I like to think that it infuses our boards with something powerful, some beautiful communal energy of women together dreaming big for the future. Alrighty, my amazing folks. There we have it. 6 non-traditional ways to kickstart your new year without setting a traditional New Year's resolution. If you know that strength training is a big piece of your 2026 puzzle and you are in the Twin Cities area, please consider checking out Fit After 40 small group personal training. Peri and postmenopause can literally make your body feel like it has changed overnight, and suddenly what used to work didn't work anymore, or maybe you feel like you never even knew what worked before. You're doing your best, but you're tired of guessing, you're tired of wasting money and time, and did I mention you're just freaking tired? You're not alone. There it is again. You just aren't alone. Fit After 40 literally was built for that exact reason. We are approaching strength training in the menopause transition and beyond, just like how what we've been talking about all podcast, with small, intentional, doable action steps the right way so that you can build muscle, protect your joints, feel strong again, get your energy back without burning yourself out. This isn't about extremes or punishing ourselves or fixing ourselves or starting all over from scratch. It's about learning how to train with your body and where it is now, and having expert guidance and supportive small group or a small group who's going through exactly the same thing as you, so you don't have to figure it out alone. You bring the willingness, I'll bring the plan, the coaching, and the community. Deal? Strong isn't gone. It's just built a little bit differently now. And I cannot say this enough. You don't have to do it alone. Check out Fit After 40 in the show notes. Drop your name on the wait list if you're ready, or fill out the contact sheet at the bottom if you have questions or are interested in seeing how it could work for you personally. In the meantime, let's just be honest. 2026, it's not going to be a perfect year. That doesn't exist. But we can approach 2026 with a plan for keeping it a little bit easier, a little bit gentler, and a little bit stronger, one habit at a time together. If you got something out of this podcast, as always, please, please, please share, like, review, comment, give it to a friend, put it on social media, tag me at Kinsey.does.the.fitness. Small little grassroots podcast over here. So the more that we share it with others, the more ears of women we can get it into, so that we can start learning how to support and take care of our beautiful bodies and brains through the menopause transition and beyond. Because as always, you are so stinking worth it. Happy holidays, y'all. I will see you next week. Woo! All right, my friends, there we have it. I hope you are all having a wonderful winter. If you're traveling for the holidays, please be safe out there. If you're staying home, stay safe inside. I can't thank you enough. I didn't look up a joke before this, and honestly, did I mention it's been kind of a long day? I'm just so grateful you are here. And if you have one of the 6 that you're going to try, I'd love to hear about it. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what you tried. Tell me what you worked. Do you have a word of the year? Hit me up. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Next time.